If you feel like you're dealing with a reactive hypoglycemia issue, don't view it like, well, I've never heard of reactive hypoglycemia. I've only heard of hypoglycemia. I must have something new and totally freaky. But the reality is that they're not that far apart. With reactive hypoglycemia, the response that your body is creating may just be a little stronger, harder, or faster. It can be about more than just your blood sugar going low and you yelling at the mailman because you don't like the shorts he's wearing. But if you're reacting poorly to eating a meal, what do you think the odds are that you're going to be able to improve this until you understand what the actual cause is? I can let you know the odds are not so great. And I know that from personal experience. Because when I had hypoglycemia issues, I wasn't able to correct them until I understood what was going on and I understood the steps that I needed to take to correct that. So in this video, that's what we want to do. I want to help you understand what's actually going on and then teach you some steps that you can take, and I mean steps you can take on your own to see improvement. Stick around.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
When you hear people talking about reactive hypoglycemia, sometimes the only advice you get is just, eat meals more frequently, and that can actually cause more problems long term. So in the comment section below, let me know now what steps that you've tried to improve your hypoglycemia, and let us know if anything has created any improvement for you. But when we talk about reactive hypoglycemia or postprandial hypoglycemia, and that just means that it occurs after you eat a meal. And that can happen right after the meal or anytime up to 4 hours after the meal, and that's still considered to be viewed as reactive hypoglycemia. In most cases, this can be about insulin going up and sweeping out too much glucose out of the bloodstream too quickly. There's imbalances in the body that can make the insulin act a little bit overly powerful, almost kind of like a bully. But there's also situations where a person might be leaning insulin resistant, so when their body makes insulin, the cells don't really listen. So the body's like, hey, I really mean it. And they make more insulin, and then all of a sudden there's so much insulin that it sweeps way too much sugar out of the bloodstream. That can be kind of like if you were cold in your house and you just turned on 5 furnaces. By the time they warmed up, it would be like a boiling lava house. So it would make it way too hot. So this is what happens when the cells don't listen to insulin. The body can make too much, and then by the time it becomes effective, it becomes overly effective because of the massive amount of insulin available. In any case, when blood sugar goes too low, there's backup systems in place. There's other hormones that are meant to push glucose back into the bloodstream when it's too low. The problem is, if adrenal function is not operating correctly, that system may not be working. It's very common for someone to be dealing with adrenal fatigue or adrenal exhaustion, and the reason this happens is because the body often doesn't have enough resources to function the way that it wants to function. So it'll call on the adrenals to say, hey, can you make some more hormones to help us function the way we want to function? It's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But it eventually gets worn out and it can't operate that well anymore. So now we've lost that backup buffering system where the adrenals were going to help push glucose back into the bloodstream, and now we're left with this big sugar crash. Now I will say there's a variety of reasons that adrenals could get fatigued, but the most common reason is that digestion is not working well enough to pull all the nutrients and minerals out of the food that we're eating, and the body's not getting the stuff that it needs. We'll put a link in the description below for our Optimizing Digestion playlist so you can get a better idea if you're having digestive issues that may be leading to adrenal fatigue. Now there are other buffering systems that the body has, but we'll get to those in a second. One step that a person can take to really see some drastic improvement with their reactive hypoglycemia is to change the way that they're eating. They can change to a way that would reduce those spikes and crashes. It's in the sugar crashes that the real trouble happens, and the sugar crashes are usually stimulated by a sugar spike. So if we can change the way we eat to smooth out that blood sugar and keep it on a more even keel, a person can see a lot of improvement. For example, a lot of people will see success using a ketogenic diet because a ketogenic diet removes all the carbs, so it's removing those spikes and it removes the crashes as well. It's the crashes that we really want to get rid of. The problem is that a ketogenic diet is not right for everybody, and if someone has a low mineral levels in their system, the ketogenic diet can magnify that, and it could magnify a lot of the symptoms that you're having when you have a hypoglycemic type response. So though this diet can be very effective for some people, it can make others a lot worse. So if a person really has a low mineral level in their system, they would want to correct that before they tried to implement a ketogenic diet. Now, we have a free digestion course that kind of walks you through looking at your own physiology and help you figure out if you might have low minerals or any other imbalances that may be magnifying this problem. And we'll put the link to that free course down in the description below. Now you may be saying, but I've even removed carbs in the before and I didn't see improvement. And what we need to understand is that even a meal with just protein that doesn't have any carbohydrates at all could still create a hypoglycemic response. And the reason that is because if you have a big protein meal, that's a lot of amino acids that are in those proteins. Now, the body uses insulin to process amino acids as well. So if you eat this big protein meal without any carbohydrates, then the body's going to raise insulin levels to deal with all those amino acids. And now the insulin is high enough and it's going to sweep a lot of blood sugar out of the system. So you didn't bring in any carbs, but there was blood sugar in there. But while the insulin's dealing with the amino acids, it's going to cause blood sugar to go too low and create a hypoglycemic crash. So you can see that it can be about more than just changing the way you eat or even just changing the way your body's functioning. A lot of times a person really needs to do a combination of the two. But what's most important is to understand what's going on with you and your unique bio-individuality. Is it a situation where your insulin is too strong and too powerful? Or is it a situation where it's too weak and the body has to make way too much insulin and then all that insulin sweeps out too much blood sugar? We also need to understand if the buffering systems in our body are working correctly or not. So what I want you to do now is check out our video on hypoglycemia and 5 steps that can help, and that will walk you through the process of figuring out which issues may be a problem for you and the steps you can take to improve them. I can't wait to hear about your results.